and today we are in the fifth lecture of our Python and Financial Analysis course. In the last lecture we have discussed some of the points. We have built a simple trading strategy in Python, and we have calculated around two things. The first one is the moving average 10 of the 10 days and the moving average of the 50 days, and we have plotted them on a graph. So today we will discuss about random variables. In the last lecture we have discussed about two things, the 2 points where we face bankruptcy. You can see in these figures that these yellow points are the points where we were in loss. So in statistics, these MA10, the moving average of 10 days, MA50, the moving average of 50 days, are called random variables. We will study what is the distribution of these two random variables, what is the probability rule in the language of statistics, what are the random variables in other examples. So let me move forward and we will discuss about all the things, and the major focus of this lecture are the points where we face these losses. So we are calling it again and again that the moving average 10 and 40 are the random variables. So in this lecture, before telling you anything, I want to discuss basically what are random variables. In the trading strategy, you find two things that are used to predict our final outcome. We call it as MA10 and MA40. In the similar way, there are random variables in other fields, other stats as well. Suppose we have the organization which is giving loan to a person. So before giving the loan, the organization should have to evaluate risk in case of by using the external random variables, because in case of bankruptcy, how the person will return the loan. So they will be going to check the telephone bills, the taxes paid, and the credit transactions of a person, and based on these external variables, external random variables, they are going to provide a loan to a certain person. Certain welfare organizations in many countries of the world use proxy means test. You can see you can see in the figure, and you can say it as PMT test. These PMT tests is the calculation of the ceiling, of the assets in the house, of the area of the house. So before giving a loan or before helping the needy and poor, they have some scale to test the person, the scale to test the need of the person. So they are going to use PMT test in several countries of the world. So in today's lecture we will explore random variables in a very simple and easy manner. So the distribution of our lecture is about outcomes and random variables. What are the outcomes of random variables, how we can calculate the random variables, what is meant by frequency, distribution, relative frequency, and all the terms. And all these major terms of this lecture will help us to evaluate the models of stock return. We will compute the probability and the value of risk soon. So let us start our lecture with a practical example. Suppose we have two dices and we are going to roll them once. We have two dices, we are going to roll them once, means we are going to throw them on the ground, and there should be two faces. In this example, in this picture you can see the two faces are 6 and 6, so the total of these two faces is 12. So in the class we are performing a practical. If someone have two dice in their pockets, we are going to roll them once, and like this we have rolled them, and the one dice is showing 5 and the other dice is showing 3. So 5 plus 3, the sum is simple 8. So in Python we can do it, and we can do this process 10 times. Every time we will find the different sum. So let me start and perform some practical in front of you, and then I will tell you what is random variable and why I am teaching you the random variable. So before going to the practical, keep in your mind that we have two dices, and we are going to roll them once. So let me make a new file in my Jupyter notebook and import the necessary libraries. As I have told you earlier that I will always be using live coding and doing live coding in front of you, so you can get every inch of my lecture and you can understand everything I am teaching you. So first of all, I am zooming it and writing the necessary libraries for making arrays. I have imported numpy, and with it I will also import pandas library, so we can make a data frame. So we are going to mimic the game. We are going to mimic this class practical of rolling dice in Python. So basically we are going to mimic this game, and using this mimicking technique I will give you the crystal clear concept of random variable. So I have imported two libraries, numpy and pandas as pd. Now I am going to mimic the roll of dice, the rolling of dice, the thing we have just performed in our class. So I am making a variable die, and I am making a data frame. Data frame basically arranges my data in the form of a column, in the form of a table. We can visualize it, or we can turn it into Excel file. It basically arrange my data in the form of a column. So data frame is good to see the data in an organized form. So I have written data frame, and remember the D of data and frame of F should be in the capital letter, and I am making bracket, and inside the bracket I am giving it my list, which is the outcome of a dice. And everyone knows that in a single dice there are 6 faces, and in these 6 faces there is written 1 2 3 4 5 6, and now I am going to roll them. So I am making a variable sum of dice. I am going to roll 2 dice at once. So I am writing die dot sample. I am writing a Python technique to roll 2 dice. So I have written sum of dice a variable and die dot sample, and first argument should be the number of times I am rolling the dice. Replace is for removing the duplicate, and now I want to do a sum. Whatever the is on the first dice face and whatever is on the second dice face, what I am going to do, I want to add both values, and I want the answer. So I am using LOC0, and why I am using LOC0, I have already taught you in the lecture: selection by position, selection by label. If someone didn't got the understanding, I request to move to the second lecture, which is based on practical and live stats coding of Facebook and Microsoft dataset. You will find the position of you will find the purpose of this LOC0. So I am now printing what I am printing, the sum of dice. So die dot sample 2 means it will roll 2 dices containing the same 6 faces, and it will give me the sum of the top faces, which will which we have already performed in our class. So I am writing sum of dice is, the sum of two dice is, or sum of dice is, and I am writing here sum of dice. Okay, so I am running it in front of you, and you can see the sum of dice is 5. So there should be two values. You can imagine that one dice contains 1 and the another dice contains 4, or you can imagine the one dice contains 2 or the other dice contains 3. So whatever it would be, we don't know, but I am now going to tell you the most important thing, that you don't know what is coming on the face of dice 1 and what is coming on the face of dice 2. You don't know about anything about it, but you know the outcome. You don't know about the faces of dice, but you know the outcome. That 5 is known as the random variable. So I think that is the clear concept, that you don't know before rolling that what will be the outcome. You don't know the face of dice 1, face of dice 2, but still you are able to find the final addition sum of both the dices. That is a random variable. Now we have rolled the dice once and it is a random answer. If we roll the dice again, and you can see the answer should be different. Let me run this cell again, and now the sum is 4, because it is taking random samples, and now it is 7, and now it is 8. So it is random output. When you throw the dice on the table, sometime it will be 6 and the other dice showing 3, sometime it will be 1 and the other side showing also 1. So that is known as the random variable, the random output. Now I want to roll this dice not only one time, but I want to roll this dice around 50 times, and I want to know what is the output on the first time, what is the output on the second time, what is the output on the third time. So using Python we can do this physical practical in programming 50 times as well. So I am writing trial is equals to 50. See what I am writing here, trial is equals to 50. Now I will copy the above code again. Now I am writing result variable, and in this variable I am writing, see it, I am making a list. I am using the concept of list comprehension. I will write die dot sample. Okay, because I want the final answer in the list. And how many dice are there? 2 dice. And I am writing replace is equals to true, and inside this I am writing dot sum, and the same above thing dot loc, which is position while label, and I am giving it the loop that do this practical about 50 times. So it will roll 2 dice 50 times and generate 50 outputs. Every time when you roll 2 dice, there should be a different output, or there should be a same output as well. But let me run it, and after running it, it has given me the error. Let me check where is the error, or where is the point where I have done some mistake. LOC. Oh, before LOC I have to write, before LOC in the sum I forgot to put the bracket. Now I am running it again and it has executed successfully. Now in this result variable there are the 50 values, but I don't want to see the 50 values. I just want to see the starting results, starting 10 results, only the 10 starting results. So I am writing colon 10. So it will show me the starting 10 result, and you can see it when we roll 2 dice for the first time it has given 8. When we roll 2 dice for the second time it has given 7, 5, 10, 9, 6. It is the 10 result. So we roll the dice multiple times, and after rolling the dice multiple times we got multiple results. So I am hopeful that you are very clear now with the idea of random variable, that you don't know what is the on the face of first dice, what is on the face of second dice, but still you know the output with the help of Python. And this is what I am trying to explain you, that this is the random variable. Suppose you haven't rolled the dice, but still you know that if there are two dices and you roll, and these would be the outputs. So before doing the practical you already know randomly, and your knowledge is also correct, and you know all the outcome, that is known as the random variable. So I have performed this practical, I have added these screenshots in the presentation as well. So there are two types of random variables. On this point I want to end my lecture. The very interesting point, if the values are analog, if the values are in simple numbers, so this variable is known as discrete random variable. Discrete means on a certain point you have a certain value, but in case of stock data, in case of predicting the economy or the risk, or to make models of stock, there is also a random variable. But in case of stock prediction, the variable has a different type, that is known as a continuous random variable. So that's all about today. Let me move towards the next lecture tomorrow for the explanation of frequency and distribution.